What is going on, everyone? Chris Vincelli here. Welcome to Money Talk. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing something really important, and that is how to improve your credit score. Having a good credit score is important for a number of reasons. Number one, people with the best credit scores get the lowest rates on things like loans and mortgages. So having a low credit score literally helps you save money. And another reason to have a good credit score is, let's say you want to live somewhere and you need to make an application to live in an apartment. Well, the landlord is going to evaluate your candidacy to live there. And one of the things they're going to look at is your credit score. And if you have a bad credit score, well, you might have a hard time finding a good place to live in. The best apartments are reserved for the best candidates, and typically those with high credit scores get the best places. So yes, there are many reasons why you would want to have a good credit score. And in this video, I'm going to talk about these 6 things that you can do to improve your credit score. And I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to dive into that right now. All right, so the first thing you can do is to minimize the number of hard inquiries on your credit history. Essentially, every time you ask for credit, every time you make an application for a credit card or a loan or a mortgage, that essentially is a hard inquiry on your credit history. And if you make too many of those in a short period of time, if you apply for a bunch of credit cards within a couple weeks or a couple months of each other, that's not very good. That's going to hurt your credit score. Within any 2-year period, you want to have as few hard inquiries as possible. Maybe 1, maybe 2. That's fine. 3 or 4, that's okay too. But I wouldn't want to go above 4 credit applications within the last 2 years. So if you've made 5, 6, 7, or even more credit applications within the last 2 years, I would say cool it for the time being. Make sure you don't make any more hard inquiries in the foreseeable future. The good news is that hard inquiries, instances where you've applied for credit, well, the good news is that after 2 years, those hard inquiries fall off your credit report. So let's say within the past month, you made a bunch of credit card applications. Let's say you made like 5 or 6. Okay, well, that's gonna hurt your credit score in the short term. But in 2 years, those hard inquiries will fall off your credit report, and you'll probably see an improvement in your credit score once those hard inquiries fall off after 2 years. All right, the second thing you'd wanna take into consideration is the total number of credit accounts you have. So the total number of mortgages, loans, credit cards, all of those. And interestingly, the more accounts you have, the better it is for your credit score. So if the credit reporting agencies see like 11, 12, 13, or even 15 open credit accounts on your credit history, well, what that says about you is that you're actually doing a pretty good job at managing multiple credit accounts at the same time. You're giving the credit reporting agencies an idea of how you would do if you have many credit accounts open at the same time. And the more you have open, and the more you're able to manage all of them at the same time, the better of an impression you're giving to these credit reporting agencies and the higher credit score you're gonna get. All right, so these last 2 points, the total number of accounts and the number of hard inquiries, those are important, but they don't have a very big impact on your credit score. They have a small impact, but not a big impact. The next point I'm gonna bring up is a little more important, and that is your credit age. Essentially, the average length of your credit history. And the main point you would wanna take away from this is that you wanna have a long credit history. You wanna make sure that your credit history is as long and as old as possible. So let's say you have a credit card from when you were 18 years old that you don't use anymore. Whatever you do, don't close it. Keep it on your credit history, keep it on your credit report, because that old credit card is essentially acting as an anchor that elongates your credit history. Credit reporting agencies want to see that you've been able to manage your credit over a long period of time. So if the average length of your credit history is like 1 or 2 years, well, that's not that great. That's going to hurt your credit score a little bit. However, if you've had a credit history for about 10, 15, or even 20 years, that's great. That's going to tell these credit reporting agencies that over a long period of time, you've been able to manage your credit. Typically, you want to make sure that your credit history is about 7 or 8 years or more. So whatever you do, make sure you keep your old credit cards open. Do not close them. Unless there's some ridiculous annual fee on it and you don't use a credit card at all anymore, don't close those credit cards. Keep your oldest credit cards open. They're gonna help make your average credit history as long as possible. All right, I got a few more points I wanna go over, but before I do so, I wanna let you know that whether you've seen my content before or this is the first time viewing one of my videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you can be notified every single time I come out with other great and similar content. And if you haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and smash that like button. YouTube loves it when people like my videos. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. So go ahead and smash that like button. And yes, I am on Instagram, so feel free to follow me there too. All right, so the next 3 points are gonna be really important in improving your credit score. So you're gonna wanna pay attention to these next points. So the 4th thing you would wanna pay attention to are to the number of derogatory remarks on your credit history. These are instances in which you had to work with debt collectors, or if there are any civil judgments on your credit report, or heck, even if you've declared bankruptcy. These are things that could stay on your credit history for a long time, and they could severely negatively affect your credit score. So whatever you do, make sure you pay off your debts. Don't get yourself in the situation where you'd have to work with debt collectors to pay off those debts. And if you're interested in preserving your credit history and improving your credit score, you might want to avoid declaring bankruptcy as much as possible. Once you declare bankruptcy, you're essentially barred from getting any credit for the next 7 to 10 years. So do whatever you can to avoid these instances. And if you want, you could also work with debt collectors to maybe negotiate some sort of settlement or even forgive some of the debt. This is particularly useful in the event of hardship. They might be willing to work with you to forgive some of that. So take a look at your public records and make sure there are no derogatory remarks on your credit history. And keep in mind that whatever you do find, you do have the right to fight and dispute whatever's on your public record. But like I said, this is a very important point. You want to make sure that you don't get into a situation where you are working with debt collectors or you are about to declare bankruptcy. Make sure you can avoid all that at all costs. And if you do find yourself in that situation, try to work with debt collectors or even fight some of the things on your public record. All right, the second to last thing you'd want to pay attention to is credit card use, namely the percentage of your credit limit that is used on a month-to-month basis. And if you have high credit card use, if you're spending more than 30% of your credit card's limit every single month, well, that's gonna hurt your credit score. When you're using a large percentage of your credit limit on a monthly basis, you're telling the credit reporting agencies that you live a lot of your life off of credit. And that's generally not a good thing. You want to keep your monthly credit card use under 30% of your credit limit and preferably under 10%. So if you're using up, 30% or 50% or even more of your credit card limit every single month, change that. Start paying in cash more often. And you'll see that if you limit your credit card use to under 30%, maybe even up to 10%, you're going to see a dramatic increase in your credit score over the next few months. All right, and the last thing you want to pay attention to, and this is really important, and that is late payments. Late payments have a very high negative impact on your credit score, so you want to avoid late payments at all costs. Having just 2 or 3 late payments can have a very big impact on your credit history. So make sure you pay your mortgages, your loans, your credit cards, on time every single month. And even if you can't afford to make the payment in full, make sure at the very least you make the minimum payment. Avoiding late payments, making sure that you at least pay the minimum every single month can greatly help your credit score. And missing a couple payments, even just 2 or 3, can have a very bad impact on that credit history. So the last 3 points I made, late payments, credit card use, and derogatory remarks have a very big impact on your credit score, and you'd want to pay attention, especially to those 3 when trying to improve your credit score. The great thing is your credit score is something you have total control over. By making these changes, by paying attention to the points I brought up in this video, you can drastically improve your credit score in a matter of months. And like I mentioned earlier, having a good credit score saves you a lot of money because it gets you the best rates on things like loans and mortgages, and it makes you a good candidate whenever you need to apply to live somewhere, like to live in an apartment. But let me know what you think. What have you done to improve your credit score? Have any of these points helped you in the past? Let me know in the comments section below and tell me, what is your current credit score situation? Is it bad? Is it improving? Has it gone down recently? I want to hear your stories. Let me know in the comments section below. And like I mentioned earlier, whether you've seen my content before or this is the first time viewing one of my videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you can be notified every single time I come out with other great and similar content. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and smash that like button. YouTube loves it when people like my videos. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. It helps support the channel. So go ahead and smash that like button. And yes, I am on Instagram, so feel free to follow me there too. Thanks everyone. Talk soon.